Yes, today I'm going to be doing a tutorial for this wacky thing, the Fisher Skewb. It's going to be weird, it's going to be hard at first, but it's so satisfying when you know how to solve it. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I want to mention is the notation that I will be using in this tutorial. So, on the Fisher Skewb that we have here, if we're holding it upright like this, we're always going to be looking when it's on a sort of V shape, so we're looking at this edge piece, and from here the R axis is this one, so R prime is until it lines back up like that, R and R prime again until it lines back up. L would be the same but using this axis. If I'm talking about F moves, then I want you to rotate this part, okay? So that's not L, that's not R, it's this. And that's all the notation you're going to need. So in terms of the Fisher Skewb, some important things to note before we get started. These triangular bits that you see are actually the corner pieces, even though they're sort of in the middle. And you have two squares on the yellow and white faces, which are centers, and then you also have four of these sort of double triangle pieces that look like they're on the edge, but they're also centers. So the problem here is that the centers have two colors, so they can be flipped, which is why we can not fully solve this like a normal Skewb. We can mostly, but there is a slight problem in the last layer that you will often get. Okay, so I've gone ahead and scrambled my Fisher Skewb, and it looks really awesome when it's scrambled. Weird, but pretty awesome as well. And now we're going to start the tutorial with the very first step, which is to solve the white's face. So, to do this, we start by finding the white square, which is here. And then we just need to move up the corner pieces into their correct position. So we'll start with this blue one, and you can just do R and L moves to put them into the right slot. And we need to remember the colour scheme. So if white is on the left, it goes blue, orange, green, red, which means that at the moment orange is in the wrong place. So we'll take it out and put it back in where it needs to go. And then next, green is going to come in like that, and finally red. And so now they're all in their correct position, but some of them are misoriented. So starting with this one, to reorient it, you can see here that it needs to go clockwise because the white needs to be along the top. And to do a clockwise one, we do F, make sure it's lined up, R, F prime, R prime. Okay, and that's not disturbed any of the others, but it's oriented that. And then for this one, it needs to go the other way, anti-clockwise. F prime, L prime, F, L. And that solves then. Okay, so now that we have solved the white layer, the next step is to solve centers, which are these bits, the centers all the way around here. And the way we do this is we look at the piece on the top, so for me it's orange-blue, find the slot where it needs to go, which is this slot, and in here we do an algorithm called a sledgehammer, which goes like this. R prime, L, R, L prime. And that will put it in the slot, as well as swapping the two sides. And then we look at what's on the top now, red, green, find the slot where it needs to go, and do the sledgehammer. R prime, L, R, L prime. And again, red, blue needs to go here, here, R prime, L, R, L prime, And then we just have the green-orange piece, and that needs to go in here. R prime, L, R, L prime. And now we see that all of the pieces are oriented. So we move on to the last layer. Now the case I've got here is actually a more rare case, but you still need to know it. And this is one of the normal Skewb last layer cases, but it just looks really weird on here. And you have these two wings sticking out and two pieces solved. And the way you solve it is that you focus on the left wing and you do a double sledgehammer. So one sledgehammer, okay, and then another one. So this is the same algorithm we've been using. And this sets you up now into the normal, most common OLL case for Skewb, the only other one that you need to know, where you have these two pieces facing backwards, these two facing outwards, and you hold it focused so that you have the two facing backwards on your left and the two outwards on your right. And this one is also solved from this position by simply doing two sledgehammers. So there's our first sledgehammer and the second one. And then the very last step is just to flip any pieces that are now unsolved. So you would probably have usually 2 or 3, could be 1, could be all 4. And the way you do it, so first look at the slot where you've got this flipped piece and do a double Y rotation. So do a 180 to focus on the opposite slot. On this slot you need to do 1 sledgehammer. Okay, and then you rotate back to the slot that you're trying to solve. Don't worry about any of the others. And do a double sledgehammer here, which takes it out and then puts it back in its correct orientation, like that. Then you just do a 180 again and put this piece back in. And your Skewb, once you've done that for every flipped piece, will be solved.